people thought, myself included, thought that this was going to be the thing that puts fighting games up to the next upper echelon. The fighting game space might be cooked, bro. The fighting game genre might be finished. Every other fighting game that comes out from here on out, if it doesn't have a casual appeal, we're gonna assume that the game barely has any legs to stand on. Golden Ghost Cartel. Alright, I've been sitting here for the last 15-20 minutes just trying to figure out how I'm gonna open up this video, so I gave up. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it, man. I'm just gonna do it. Cartel, my people, my babies, my dogs, what's going on with y'all boys, man? You already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Golden Ghost, and welcome back to the Golden Ghost Cartel. And today we're talking about something completely different. Today, man. Do I need to bring the mic up closer? Let me bring the mic up a little bit closer. I feel like this is a little bit important. Maybe you guys need to hear my voice a little bit deeper, a little bit more clear, a little bit more crispy. You feel me? Today we're talking about something that I haven't covered on the channel at all, bro. Today we need to talk about something very important, because I feel like what just transpired wasn't something that wasn't just a sign of the end for 2XKO and for what Riot did and everything. I think what happened is a very important message to the future of fighting games, the future of the genre, the next few game releases that come out in the future, especially Virtua Fighter Crossroads, I believe is going to play a very, very pivotal role on where the genre goes going forward. 9 times out of 10, you guys already heard the news, you guys already know what's going on, but for those of you that don't, 2XKO ended up making a little announcement talking about that they're ending development in December, and they have a last patch coming in October, and the server is going to stay online until they eventually don't stay online, you know, and then they're going to refund everybody for all the things that they made and stuff like that. Now obviously the 2XKO community is kind of devastated off of this, which I completely understand, because the last time we heard something about 2XKO was the layoffs before, and there's no real way to splice it. Under most circumstances, when you see people laid off, it's usually not a good sign. It's normally a sign of the end. But literally, even after those layoffs, the patches that were coming over that, or coming after that, the community was praising the updates. I'm yet to hear anything bad about 2XKO outside of, you know, the name being the name, and then the character roster being the character roster. And then I've heard things about the button layouts. I watched my brother play this game. I watched other content creators play this game, and I've heard nothing but good things about 2XKO from the people who, you know, sat down and played the game and learned the game. So matter of fact, I'm gonna pull my notes up real quick, because I was about to work on a script for this, and I just stopped, and then I couldn't even come up with nothing. There's a couple of takeaways from this, and I think this is something that multiple people have said, including Maximilian Dude. This is his live stream. Obviously I didn't watch the whole live stream, but he kind of said everything he needed to say within this 1 hour span. So if you guys want to check that out, you guys are more than welcome to, and more than likely by the time this video goes up, he more than likely will have uploaded his own video anyway. I'm not gonna sit here and react to this and then the other thing. We'll mess around, we'll be here all fucking day, right? His main points was that you can't make fighting games that appeal to the FGC, because this game was, in by and large, was basically tailor-made for the FGC. It was meant to give people the FGC experience on the same level as it was for people when they first got into arcades, and then trying to solve the FGC problem of, oh, you always have to play by yourself, by allowing you to team up with somebody else, which was a very unique concept for it as being a tag fighter. But he said outside of actually just getting in the matches and getting games and stuff like that, there really wasn't nothing to do. And from a casual perspective, not everybody's going to want to, like not every casual is going to get into a fighting game and try to play that fighting game and improve at the game and improve their level at the game. Some people just want to get in there and hit buttons. Some people just want to get in there and hit some cool shit and have some cool shit happen, right? And then not only that, they want a reason to get into the cool shit. Now we can get into other stuff, like was 2XKO not the name, like the name being what it is. It could have had League of Legends in the name somewhere to give a little bit of brand recognition there. It is what it is. I don't know what they was thinking, but with that being the case of being a free-to-play game that appeals to primarily FGC people, hardly anything to keep casuals engaged into the game, and then on top of that, charging an exuberant amount of prices on the skins, not gonna lie, it wasn't much of a reason for people to stick around, you know, outside of people that really like the game. So although the game had consistent numbers, it just wasn't enough, because the strength of the FGC isn't enough to bring people in, isn't enough to sustain at the level that Riot wants. And this is all stuff coming from Maximilian's perspective. Now, first of all, I kind of have to give Max his props, because it's kind of ballsy to even say that, and say that as one of the head honcho faces of the YouTube FGC. Like, when it comes to the FGC, a lot of people view Max as the face of it, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. The reality is that unless you're in the big three, you're not going to get that many sales, man. Because even though MK, look, you can say whatever you want about MK makes money. If there's nothing else they're going to do, they're going to make money. So they're going to be in the big three regardless. Then you got Tekken. You know, Tekken, the legacy fighter, being so unique into what it is. You got people that's never going to put that game down. And then you have Street Fighter. We'll get back to Street Fighter in a minute though. So with that being said, considering Max had made this video that was going over majority of the points that I kind of agreed with, I originally wasn't going to really make this video. I mean, there is one thing that he didn't point out that I kind of want to mention, and that's just the fact of, like, I don't know what companies see when they see the fighting game genre, but they're not nowhere near as big as what you think. If you have a pretty good fighting game, you're looking at maybe like 2,000 to 5,000 daily active users, bro. This game, I assure, costs a ton of money to make, and Riot wants to see that recoup. And if they didn't see that recoup within a certain amount of time, they're gonna start shutting the doors down. So initially from the gate, you could say, due to Riot just not reading the room, they set 2XKO up for failure from the very beginning. Because I don't know if it was a matter of they didn't know, or they simply just thought they could be different because they have the League of Legends IP. But if somebody would have went in the room and told the people that made these decisions, like, yo, the FGC's not that big, maybe this would have went different. Or maybe not. And I say or maybe not because when this game was first being announced and first being in developments, people seeing the Cannon brothers, people was hearing about the netcode and everything, people was hyped. People thought, myself included, thought that this was going to be the thing that puts fighting games up to the next upper echelon. The fact that from 8 months ago till now the tone is completely different, it essentially puts every other fighting game on fraud watch. Because y'all have to, now people have to look at this and be like, yo, what happened? We're talking about Riot Games, bro. Riot Games. And they thought they could single-handedly pull 2XKO up into the mainstream joint. And a lot of us believed them. But look at us now. Look at us now. And now it's going to be a case study for future fighting games to get this right. Now, like I said, Max made a lot of points that I agree with in this video, and for a good minute there was no reason for me to even make this for real. But that brings me to my second takeaway. The way fighting games appeal to casuals is wrong, and it has been wrong for a very long time. Now, why do I say this? Well, I came across another stream. This is a guy named Bum16, fighting game guy. Now, I watched quite a bit more of this because this is 4 hours of this man's ragging 2XKO. Now, I don't want to jump on no crazy train. Not trying to jump down anybody's neck or no shit like that. He was talking crazy in a lot of this shit. I'm not here for none of that. The main thing I took away from majority of things that this individual had to say, due to his take that it failed because it catered to casuals. And at first I was like, huh? Like, what does that mean? Like, because look, I'm a believer in two things can be true at the same time, right? But there's no way you can completely clash that it failed because of the casuals and then it failed because it didn't appeal to casuals. That don't make no sense. After listening to him some more, hearing him out, he was talking more about like motion inputs and things, which I low-key still don't agree with, because you don't need motion inputs to make a complex and in-depth fighting game. And then he was talking about other things like the title and stuff like that, the the prices in the store and stuff like that, it being free to play, and then the layouts and everything. Basically the things that we kind of all knew, where the writing was low-key starting to get on the wall more and more. He started going off into talking about other fighting games as well. He didn't just talk about 2X. He was talking about how the direction of other fighting games, as far as like how they attempt to appeal to casuals by essentially dumbing down the mechanics of the fighting game to make it more friendly for a casual to be able to play and advance throughout the levels of play. And that got me thinking. That's what got me here. That's what got me to the second takeaway. The way fighting games appeal to casuals is wrong. You can't make fighting games that appeal to the FGC. You have to make fighting games that are fun. That's one thing too about the FGC when it comes to games. When it comes to certain games, like, bro, like, you can make anything competitive. Literally, you can make anything competitive. There's competitive Uno. There's literally competitive tag. Let the competitive come to the game. Focus on making a fun fighting game. But even still, don't be scared to make the battle mechanics and whatever you have complex. Don't be scared to make things in depth. Don't be scared to make things challenging. When designing your mechanics in your fighting game, you shouldn't design them around you want the lowest level player possible, the easiest path to grow. Because what this leads to alienation within the people that want to play at a higher level. And this has been proven true time and time again for the last few years. Look at Tekken 8. Tekken 8 Heat Mode. We've been seeing that since Tekken 6 when they introduced Rage. They introduced Rage in Tekken 6, Rage Art Rage Drives in Tekken 7. Then Tekken 8, now we have Heat, and everything's blowing the fuck up. DOA has always had the triangle system with strikes, throws, and holds. And then in DOA 6 come along, they come out with a mechanic that literally makes the hold button just basically obsolete, because you have a button that holds all hold levels and takes the entire skill threshold away from the equation completely. Mortal Kombat, it's like after MKX, we just seen the game just slowly regress game after game. MK11 was a regression of MKX, and then MK1 was just like, what the fuck? The old school Guilty Gear games, Guilty Gear XR to Guilty Gear Strive, is such a abstract difference in just gameplay. Everybody that I know that hates Strive has played the older Arxis games. What's the pattern between all of these? All of these games have regressed their gameplay mechanics in a way to where it makes it easier for the casual player to level up, which sounds good on paper, because I'm sure as a developer you will want to see your players get better at the game. The question is do you want your players to get better at the game, or do you want people to buy your product? Do you want 10,000 players, or do you want 1,000 good players? Do you want thousands of players that's willing to spend money on microtransactions and DLC, or do you want just a couple of hundred players that are just going to give you playtime? If you want a fighting game to be successful now, the thing that you have to do is thread the needle. Appealing to casuals through the mechanics tends to just alienate the higher level player. The best way to pull in casuals and thread the needle is to make a fighting game. Make it complex, make it however you want to make it. But the important thing is everything else around the fighting game. What does the story mode look like? What other offline modes on there? Is there a way you can play online without just directly fighting? Can I play co-op with my friends playing? Is there anything else that I can do in this game? And that's always been the challenge. This is where I want to take it to Street Fighter 6, because yes, they have a simplified version of a fighting game that they had in the past. But to offset that, there's a world tour mode in the game. There's no replay value in most fighting game stories or most of the offline content, but world tour mode is a complete step above all of that shit. Like Street Fighter 6, they implemented an RPG in their fighting game. You literally create a character, build up a moveset by interacting with the other characters in the game, learning their moves, creating your own moveset with your character, fighting other NPCs, having your own story mode with your created character. So you get to go on the whole journey with your own created character. Then when you're done, you get to go online and fight other people's created characters. You get to see what other people are making. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. That reminds me of DC Universe Online. And DC Universe Online is a game that's still running to this day. Dragon Ball Fighters, they kind of had like a raid mode. Where you went in there with 2 of your friends, and you hopped in there and you fought somebody multiple times. They had Ultra Instinct Goku. Tekken 8 was talking about adding a Tekken Force. That would have been fire, especially if it was a co-op thing. If Tekken 8 could have implemented Tekken Force, that would have been fire. What I'm getting at is we need more casual things around the fighting game if you want to attract the casual people, because the casual people aren't there to learn the fighting game. The fighting game players are going to be there to learn the fighting game. They're going to be the ones that find the ins and outs, and they're going to do that for any game, not because it's a FGC game, but because it's something that they like. You need casual modes. You need casual centered marketing in order to push your game to a casual market. And then when people dive in and they see the fighting game is more than just headbutt your controller, then you're going to attract the high level people to break the game open, and there you go. Now you got something on top of that. What's next? Well, this is where I get into the reason why I wanted to make this video now, because I feel like there's a point that needs to be made. 2XKO's failure has officially put every other fighting game on fraud watch. Every other fighting game that comes out from here on out, if it doesn't have a casual appeal, we're gonna assume that the game barely has any legs to stand on. For me personally, when it comes to this, there's 2 fighting games that I'm looking at. Dead or Alive 7, and the one that we know for a fact has the biggest chance of this happening, of success, Virtua Fighter Crossroads. Now, why do I say VF Crossroads? Well, it's going to be having the most intricate story mode that we've ever heard of, because what they're doing is they're combining the Yakuza style game format, which is basically, if you haven't played it, it's like a big story mode. You get a little pseudo open map where you go to multiple people, you do multiple side quests, you have main quests, and then you have a battle system in there. It's like a beat 'em up. You have random encounters, you can run into people and beat them up. You can go on dates. You can have like 4 girlfriends at the same time. You can do a absolute plethora of shit on the Yakuza game, and they're taking that formula and hand baking it in the VF's offline mode. That is going to attract that's going to attract the entire Yakuza base over to this game. And then if the word of mouth is good, it's going to attract other people that doesn't have nothing to do with fighting games to try out this story mode, because they really fuck with this offline story mode because of how intricate and deep it can be. And then on top of that, while it's changing things up for the VF fighting system, I know that the combos are different. It's like a grounded combo or grounded juggle system they have going for themselves now. Even though it's that way, it still looks VF. It still looks like Virtua Fighter. What we have here looks to be an exact one of what I'm talking about. Things centered around the casuals that can get the casuals playing and keep the casuals playing for a long time without even needing to touch the fighting game. And then you have the core things of what makes VF to people. This looks like the perfect storm. And then if DOA 7 were to come out and combine the extreme and the fighting game together, that would also be something extremely intricate and extremely unique that no other fighting game has done, but also be something to bring that casual audience back to DOA. It'll bring everybody together instead of having everybody segregated like they are right now. But that's assuming if Koei Tecmo actually cares, you feel me? Because if they don't, I don't know, bro. 6LR, bro. Virtua Fighter Crossroads is going to be a turning point. It's going to be a turning point, because if it comes out and that doesn't do good, as in like, because you gotta think about it, Sega has expectations for VF in the same way that Riot Games has expectations for 2XKO. They want that thing to make a lot of money. They're putting a lot of money into it. They want to make a lot of money back. As a matter of fact, I remember the devs going on record saying that they wanted Virtua Fighter Crossroads to be Game of the Year, not Fighting Game of the Year. They're shooting for Game of the Year. It all rides on them, in my opinion. It all comes back and all rides back to Virtua Fighter Crossroads. If this game comes out and it somehow still can only retain 2,000 to 5,000 players, the fighting game space might be cooked, bro. The fighting game genre might be finished. This might end up returning to being a niche a niche thing. Like, we was already a niche thing, but since Twitter is the way it is and everybody's so like-minded around each other and stuff like that, it makes the FGC feel a lot bigger than what it is, especially if you engage yourself in these spaces. If this game doesn't do good, bro, every fighting game that isn't Street Fighter or Tekken's gonna suffer if this game doesn't do good, because that's gonna show that's gonna tell developers that it don't matter how good the game mechanics are, it doesn't matter how good the offline is, it doesn't matter how good the story is, how good the offline modes is, or who they appeal to. The game is just gonna be what it is. It's always gonna be a certain amount of people that's gonna play it, and that's just gonna be what it is. But if this game can cross through, if this game can break the mold, rising tides raises all ships. And then on top of that, that will be the case study on what exactly to do. And then the pressure will be on every other fighting game from then on to follow suit and come up with their own creative way to appeal to casuals and bring in more casuals and bring in more people in order to get the money that they need. And you can only do that by actually making things that casuals will want to play. I'm not really sure how I want to end this video. Leave a like, comment, share with your friends, all that good stuff, man. And as always, hit the hype button, subscribe for some more from the Golden Ghost Cartel, follow the Twitch, GGC, we're the best team in the league. Put Vanessa in VF Crossroads, bro, please. We've waited long enough. We know she's gonna be in the game. We know she's coming in, man. I want that Vanessa gameplay trailer immediately. That's all I want, man. Bye.